carried my name like a heavy coat, stitched with fear and pride. Every place I went, I tried to prove I deserve the right to stand inside. But the valley opened without a sound. No questions, no demand. And for the first time I felt my name slip gently from my hands. I thought identity was something you defend or you explain, but the hills never introduced themselves, and still they remain. The river didn't speak its purpose, yet it knew where to go. And standing there between the stones, I finally let go. The valley let me lay my name down. Didn't need it anymore. I wasn't less without the label. I was lighter than before. If God does not require a title to recognize my face, then the valley let me lay my name down. You are known before you are named. The valley let me lay my name down, and I did not disappear. I became the breath inside my chest, the quiet without fear. If belonging comes before becoming, and love before the sound, in the valley let me lay my name down. The wind moves on, I remain. I expected emptiness to hurt, to echo like a wound. But when the voices faded out, the silence felt like room. No judgment hanging in the air, no pressure to perform, just space enough to feel my heart in its natural form. I've been afraid of quiet places where I can't hide inside, but the stillness didn't expose my flaws. It stood right by my side, like a friend who doesn't interrupt or try to rearrange. It simply stayed and let me breathe without asking me to change. Even the silence was kind. It didn't rush my pain. It didn't try to heal me fast or explain. If God can speak through quiet air without a single sign, then even the silence was kind. Not every answer arrives the same. Even the silence was kind. It held what words could not. It made a home for broken thoughts I never thought I'd got. If mercy doesn't always speak but always stays behind, then even the silence was kind. Breathe, nothing more. I've searched for meaning in the margins, in footnotes and in signs. I wanted faith to come with answers neatly underlined, but I found God in open spaces where questions still remain, where nothing was resolved or fixed or carefully explained. The sky didn't give me reasons, the earth didn't defend, but something holy filled the space between the why and when. Like truth that doesn't argue or beg me to agree, just presence standing quietly right next to me. I found God where nothing was explained, where faith did not insist, where mystery was not a threat but something to exist. If love does not require control or certainty to stand, then I found God where nothing was explained. Understanding is not belief. I found God where nothing was explained, and I was not afraid. I didn't need to hold the truth, it held me while I stayed. If grace survives without a map, without a master plan, then I found God where nothing was explained. Still enough I begged the sky for clarity, for signs I could believe. I asked and asked and asked again, until I couldn't breathe. Then, tired of my own questions, I finally let them fall. And that's when light did something strange. It stayed without a call. It didn't brighten for attention, didn't prove it was right. It rested on the field and fence like it had all night. I realized the light wasn't waiting for better words or prayer. It had been there the whole damn time, I just wasn't aware. The light stayed after I stopped asking, after I let go. It didn't need my certainty to shine or to show. If God does not withdraw His presence when faith feels thin, then the light stayed after I stopped asking. Not respond, it remains. The light stayed after I stopped asking, and I stayed too. Not because I finally knew, but because it was true. If love does not depend on effort or perfect belief, then the light stayed after I stopped asking, and brought me peace. Light on land, breathe. Stood beside the moving water, feeling late for my own life. Every dream felt overdue, every choice a quiet knife. But the river moved with steady grace, unconcerned with time. It didn't speed for anyone, it didn't fall behind. I've chased clocks and measured worth by how fast I could run, but the river reaches the ocean without racing the sun. It bends, it waits, it disappears, then shows up once again, teaching me that progress doesn't always mean win. The river never asked me to hurry, never question why. It kept on moving faithfully under the open sky. If God's will, there's not panic when I don't understand. Then the river never asked me to hurry, it held my hand. Time not at a place but in my breath, feeling fully alive. If peace is found in moving true, not moving fast or strong, then the river never asked me to hurry. It moved me along. Water fades, land woke up before I did, mist holding its breath in the lowlands, horses standing like old prayers, waiting for the light to arrive. No words were spoken by the earth, yet everything felt understood.
The sun rose slowly without triumph, like it had all the time in the world. Golden light spilled over fences, over miles that never end.
I felt my worries shrink to dust beneath the weight of so much sky. This world is wide as the first morning, wide enough to start again. Every road still holds a promise, every loss still knows my name. If grace was written into creation, then I'm standing where it began. This world is wide as the first morning, and I'm alive in it again. Nothing rushed, nothing asked. The day just opened its hand. The light kept coming, so did I. This world is wide as the first morning, wide enough to start again. Every road still holds a promise, every loss still knows my name. If grace was written into creation, then I'm standing where it began. This world is wide as the first morning, and I'm alive in it and I'm alive in it again. I came to prove my strength that day, to measure what I'm worth. Standing small before the storm and the quiet of the earth. But the mountain didn't rise against me, didn't challenge or accuse. It stood there in its patience, like it had nothing to prove. I've lived like life's a constant climb, a test I must survive. But the mountains simply exist, deep enduring alive. It didn't hurry to be seen, didn't shout its high, and somehow in that stillness I felt my chest grow light. The mountain did not compete with me, it didn't try to win. It showed me strength can stand alone, without comparison. If God's power doesn't need my feet or my defeat, then the mountain did not compete with me. It let me be. Stone and sky. Stone and sky. I walk the ridge where the old grass leans toward stories it never tells. Every step felt borrowed from time, like a quiet borrowed spell. I spent my life chasing titles, trying hard to explain, but the wind moved through the valley like it already knew my name. I've expectation, like a coat too heavy to breathe, trying to earn a place in the world instead of learning to receive. But the wind never asked me questions, never asked me why. It touched my face like recognition, and then moved on by. The wind knew my name before I did, before I learned to stand. It spoke in breaths in open fields. I finally understand. If God remembers who we are, before the fear, before the flame, then the wind knew my name before I did, and said it just the same. Identity is not constructed, it is revealed. The wind passed, I stayed. I searched the horizon for arrival, for a sign that I had arrived. But the road kept stretching gently under the open sky. Then it hit me like quiet knowing, so soft it barely showed. I wasn't heading somewhere, I was already home. I thought home meant certainty, or answers lined in stone. But the earth keeps turning faithfully, without ever knowing. Every step I took in wonder, every pause in fear, was still within the circle of being here. I was already home. myself before I ever could. If grace surrounds the journey, not just the end alone, then I was already home. I was never alone. Home is not arrival, it is belonging. I was already home in every breath I took, in every quiet moment I once overlooked. If God does not wait at the finish line, but walks the road with me, then I was already home and always will be. The road stayed, so did love. I prepared myself for darkness long before the sun's low. I've learned to brace for endings, even when I don't know. But evening held its color like it had nowhere to be, and the lights stayed longer than the doubt in me. Every shadow grew honest, not threatening, just long, like truth stretching itself into where it belongs. I realized fear had taught me to expect departure, but love doesn't always leave when it changes. The light did not abandon me, it just learned how to rest. It left enough behind to say, you will be kept. neither will you. Stars arrived without replacing what the day had done. They carried the same promise in a quieter tone, and I felt held by continuity, by something older than sight. Not day, not night, but faith. Endings are not exits, they are thresholds. The light did not abandon me, it completed what it gave. It trusted me with darkness at night, felt brave. If God remains when vision fades, when certainty is through, then the light did not abandon me. It led me into you. Night breathed, and I was safe. The river moved through stone and silt without an audience. It didn't shimmer for approval or pause for consequence. Its voice was low, continuous, like truth that doesn't argue. It knew where it was going and didn't need me to. I followed it for hours, past bends I couldn't see, wondering why direction felt easier for it than me. It didn't fight resistance, it didn't name the cost. It learned the shape of obstacles and turned them into laws. The river never asked for witnesses, still it carved the land, still it carried broken pieces, like they always had a plan. If God moves without announcements, without needing me to know, then the river never asked for witnesses, it just continued to go. I've spoken prayers like arguments, demanding signs and proof, but water holds its power, and how it stays unshook. Every stone becomes a story, every scar a curve. The river teaches holiness by how little it deserves. Some truths are not defended, they are lived. Some faith does not rise. It runs, the river never asked for witnesses, yet the valley bears its name. Every canyon stands as evidence of patience over pain. If love is measured by endurance, not by what it shows, then the river never asked for witnesses, and still the whole world knows. Water moving, God breathing. I expected silence to be empty, to turn its back and walk away. But it stayed like an open doorway, where my breath could finally stay. No echoes judging what I carry, no voice demanding proof, and just space wide enough for truth. I laid my questions on the ground, like stones I couldn't hold. The quiet didn't rush to answer, it simply let me unfold. And in that unprotected moment, I felt something real, as if being seen didn't require appeal. The silence did not reject me, it didn't ask me to explain. It held my doubts with steady hands and never turned them into shame. If God still speaks in quiet places, then I was not alone. The silence did not reject me, it felt like home. Maybe mercy has no sound, maybe love doesn't announce itself. I stayed quiet and was kept. hills did not arrange themselves for a better view. The river did not sparkle to be beautiful for you. Everything existed honestly, without demand or show. And something in that certainty let my shoulders go. I've lived like I was being watched, measured, scored, reviewed, but this place didn't notice me, and that felt true. No applause in the daylight, no judgment in the shade, just being what was already made. This place does not perform, it simply stays. It does not explain itself, it does not persuade. If creation doesn't need permission to be what it is, then this place does not perform, and neither do I. Freedom isn't absent, it's acceptance. The land remains. Enough. I arrive carrying versions of myself I no longer recognized. Names I had outgrown, dreams I had survived. The land did not ask questions, did not weigh my past. It gave me ground to stand upon. And that was enough at last. Trees stayed rooted in themselves, unashamed of where they grew. Mountains didn't justify their height, they simply knew what they were meant to do. Something in that quiet certainty undid my need to hide. I wasn't fixed, I was allowed. This is where the land refused to judge me, refused to keep a score. It didn't care who I had been or what I came here for. If mercy has a geography, then this is where I stand, where the land refused to judge me. Let me be a man. sat until my thoughts grew tired, until silence felt safe. The sky remained consistent in its refusal to take sides. For once I wasn't being measured, I wasn't being read, I was simply present and fully led. Freedom is an escape, it's permission. This is where the land refused to judge me, and I learned to do the same. I set my burdens in the grass and forgot their names. If God still meets us as we are, before the change begins, then this is where the land refused to judge me, and I let him in. Wind moved on, so did shame.